is a presentation of TFNN. The Tom O'Brien Show is produced every business day. Tom takes your phone calls toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
Let's go to Eddie in Boca Raton. Hey, Eddie, what's going on?
Hey, Tom. How are you, man?
I'm doing great, man. Yourself?
Good. It is a treasure to have TFNN every hour during the trading day, to be there to help you, to guide you, and even to give you some peace of mind, or like that somebody else is there with you while you're trading this crazy market, either up or down.
Well, listen, we appreciate you growling and prowling with us out here, because we wouldn't be out here, folks, if we didn't have all you guys, gals, tigers and tigresses as clients. And, you know, the market teaches you every single day, man.
Now, Tom O'Brien.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien, coming to you live from TFNN. Thanks for kicking off your Friday afternoon right here. We got less than an hour left to go in trading, and we got some market action. Markets in the green, as it seems like importers are going to get some refunds when you talk about taxes. But guess what? Not quite sure. It was all doom and gloom ahead of time, right? What the president was saying, he was saying we're screwed. We're going to have to give back all this money. It's going to ruin the country. Can't do it, all this stuff. And now that we've found out that the Supreme Court says that, no, the president does not have the power to tax in that manner, you have the Treasury Secretary saying the tariff revenue isn't going to change. Don't worry. That's not what we heard ahead of time. That's what he's saying right now. The truth probably lies somewhere in between, and we will find out. But checking out the charts, S&Ps right now, right near the highs of the session. You were as high as 69.31, but as you can see, we were up here at about almost noon. You were up there at about 11 a.m. as well. You dipped as low as 68.70, and right now we're pushing near those highs. S&Ps up by 44 points, or 0.6%. NASDAQ 100 up by 0.8%, 203 points in the green, 25,063. The Dow up 189 points right now, or 0.4%, 49,645 in the Russell. Particularly weak. Only index in the red right now. You're off by 0.2%, 2663 in the Russell. You jump over to yields. Not a huge reaction in yields right now. You got a little movement in the dollar, but look at the volatility in the 10-year. What? You did spike to 112.23, but we're right back to where we were prior to that number in terms of the tariff decision. You got the 10-year right now, negative by one tick, 4.07 is the yield on the 10-year. Still low yield. The dollar was up near 98 when we got that news. You spiked lower, we bounced around a bit. You get the dollar trading at 97.79 right now. And metals are catching a bid yet again. Let's check out the volume in this metals market, and then we'll jump back to the indices. So we got highs out here from February 11th, folks, of 51.44. Let's jack it up. This your daily we're looking at? All right, you're going to have a little volume today. We are, for the first time. We're at 120,000 contracts. I imagine it's going to be a decent final hour. We'll get some volume on the close of the day and the week. But even look, are we going to get to 160? We might. We're at 120 right now. It's a big day in gold, up $106. Still only 120,000 contracts, though, right? Tariff Friday? Are you kidding me? Tariff Friday? We can't get volume in the gold market? Nothing like what we were doing at one point, folks, on that run higher. Since then, it's a different world in terms of the volume in this metals market right now. Silver, same deal. You know, more volume than the record life volume we had the last couple of days, but you're at 50,000 contracts in silver. A few days ago, you did 71,000. You did 85. You were pushing 150,000 on big days, if not 200 recently. And right now, we're at 50,000 contracts. 50. A quarter of the daily volume on some of these big days. And I'm not even picking the historic days out there. Okay, well, you got 300,000 contracts. I'm talking about how often you did between 150 to 200,000 contracts on big days in the silver market. We're at 50,000 contracts today. Platinum right now, up $108, trading at 21.77. You jump over to copper, up 13 pennies. Yeah, how about natural gas? Talking about natural gas in the den. Quite a slide after we spike on that storm. 743, we roll over, and now we're at the next contract, and you got natural gas back at 304. So, in replacing the IEEPA tariffs, looks like the starting point, we'll call it, is 10%. Now, You have the Treasury Secretary saying that revenue is going to be unchanged. You have to chuckle, folks. Okay, the rhetoric, and hey, rhetoric comes out everywhere, okay? But the rhetoric prior to this getting struck down versus afterwards, it's always the end of the world versus it's not, whether the president gets his way or not. And this is what was getting written last month. We're screwed, Trump warns, if they rule against us, okay? As in, it's not going to be that dire. He's got different avenues, okay? President's going to be able to apply tariffs, and the country's not screwed. We'll be just fine. And a very conservative Supreme Court. I encourage you to go listen to those arguments, because if you listen to the arguments, you would not be surprised. Whether you agree with those arguments or not, you would not be surprised from the decision they handed down if you were listening to the oral arguments, okay? And it's history, folks. It's great to hear legal minds arguing about a monumental Supreme Court decision. I listened to it because it's a historic event. Of course it is. If they had approved that, implications potentially for generations. Period. End of sentence. And that's maybe the reason why they didn't. I'm sure they have their reasons. But the oral arguments, they were indicative of the skepticism, even amongst the conservative members of the court, in terms of allowing any president. It's not just the president you like, folks. You want to give presidents the power so that when people get in office that you don't like have that power. That's the power you want to give people. Okay? And that's the power they have. As in, you know, you want to make sure when you're fighting for those powers that when the guy gets in or the girl gets in office, that eventually will happen, that you just can't stand and disagree with, that they don't have powers that go against what was up there. So, hey, because one of the points they made in those oral arguments was that many things they struck down against Biden he could have done if he had just applied IEPA. And you can say, well, maybe he should have, right? But the implication goes on in terms of the raw power to take that taxation. And yes, it's imports. We know the arguments, okay? But you got a very conservative Supreme Court that today said they are not comfortable giving the president the power of taxation, okay? And they probably could have added that China ain't paying those taxes either, because they ain't. They're taxes on Americans, folks, okay? The consumer bears the brunt of it. It's taxes. It has nothing to do with Congress. And we'll see where he shifts from here, but the first spot is 10%. And yeah, that was the battle prior. That's not the case. Okay, talking about that there's no way that we could give the money back, right? The amount of payback if they rule, right? When these investments are added, you're talking trillions. It may not be possible. If it were, the dollars, it would be so large, it would take many years to figure out, and it's going to be quite a refund process. But then you got the Treasury Secretary saying this, okay? This is not politics, right? You know, we want to keep the politics, the partisan BS out of everything. Talking about how the day before you get ruled against, it's going to be the end of the world if you get ruled against. And then the day you get ruled against, saying revenue is not even going to change from the tariffs that we get. Well, that's a much different story. And go figure. The president was exaggerating with the doom and gloom if he was not giving unilateral power to tax. Turns out the Treasury Secretary, President Trump's Treasury Secretary, says that's not true. Okay? That's not true. We're going to take in just as much revenue, folks, even if the president does not have that unilateral power under IEPA. Virtually unchanged. Where was that one, right? Yeah. Surprise, surprise. That's the facts, folks, from the Treasury Secretary himself. Tariff revenue unchanged. We're coming right back.
If you spend any time online researching trading techniques on how to begin your trading journey, you've no doubt come across many folks who push Forex trading as a way to make big money quickly. Unfortunately, there are equally as many stories of these so-called Forex professionals just looking to make a quick buck off aspiring traders without actually teaching the ins and outs of the Forex market. This is what sets Teddy Keckstadt's The Tiger Forex Report off the riffraff. Every Monday, former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member and author Teddy Keckstadt releases his Tiger Forex Report newsletter, where he dives into the complex world of Forex and takes time to actually teach you his methods that have made him so successful in the fast-paced and rewarding world of Forex trading. Furthermore, all subscribers receive access to archived live streams of Teddy's, where he provides university-level education to help you in Forex trading. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Forex awaits.
The reality is that navigating financial markets can be risky. Markets can be chaotic and difficult to understand. Having the latest market advice can help you turn this chaos into a key for creating winning trades. At TFNN, we understand that it can be hard to find reliable market news. That's why each of our market experts offers their very own market newsletter, a must-have tool for every trader out there striving to find an edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets so you can analyze the market before you trade. Try any of our great newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Just visit the Newsletters tab on the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Are you ready to take charge of your financial future? TFNN is your gateway to the world of trading and investing. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, TFNN empowers traders and investors of all skill levels with top-notch investing systems, strategies, and techniques. It's time to protect and grow your money with insight you can trust. Join us live Monday through Friday during market hours for exclusive content that moves with the markets. At TFNN, we bring the trading floor to you. Our seasoned hosts are here to answer your calls and questions live on the air. Check out the Tiger's Den for just $1 and follow us on YouTube and become part of our vibrant community. And remember, at TFNN, we're so confident in the value we provide that we offer a 30-day money-back guarantee on all new premium newsletter subscriptions and services. You have absolutely nothing to risk, so why wait? Tune in live to Tiger TV and transform your trading journey, because when you know better, you invest better. Join us and experience the difference today. TFNN, educating investors.
Welcome back, folks. S&P's up by 41 points right now, trading at 69.18, and it is worth noting, you got the president out there blaming judges, as he is accustomed to. What is worth noting here is that President Trump got to put 3 justices on the court in his first term. And if we just asked the justices he chose, they ruled against him 2-1. Okay? And yeah, so the words are pretty strong, folks. When they're catering to a group of people in D.C., these are his own appointments. It becomes very difficult to rail against your own Supreme Court appointments when you're just not given the right to tax away from Congress. And the president says he's read everything there is to read. Well, I encourage him to go take a look at those oral arguments, because that was why I was actually listening. I didn't really want to get you can always read the articles afterwards and get a good take of where the justices were, what kind of questions, which way they're leaning. I wanted to hear the arguments. I wanted to hear the actual litigators in front of the Supreme Court in a historic case. And they were making outstanding points. The justices were. And that's what's cool is you have the justices making points back to the litigators on each side of the oral argument. So it's pretty cool. And yeah, we go on. Now I guess it's not the end of the world, because we have the Treasury Secretary talking that, yes, you're going to get Section 122, 232, and 301. Trump administration is going to use other mechanisms that he's been talking about, and it's pretty remarkable to hear him say, now, I said that's the facts. I don't think this is quite the fact either, okay, that they're going to go virtually unchanged. Well, not unchanged, right? The truth's somewhere in between. Yeah, it's going to matter. You're going to have some refunds there. They're probably not going to be able to collect them all back, but guess what? We got a bunch of other avenues for the president. Now, this one in particular, when you look at the 10%, I believe it's 150 days. Yeah, there it is. The president can impose up to a 15% baseline and puts a 5-month, or 150 day to be exact, limit on how long the duties can remain in place. He expects a new baseline to go into effect 3 days from right now. And he'll launch additional investigations on what he can do on other avenues, as you'd expect. Now, I'd imagine, or I hope, they were already exploring those additional avenues in light of how the oral arguments went and just the risk there. He's eyeing tariffs on foreign cars ranging from 15 to 30%. And he's calling the Supreme Court unpatriotic and disloyal, his Supreme Court that he put in, because his Supreme Court justices ruled against him 2-1. The plight of the president, folks. The power of taxation. Go listen to those oral arguments, folks, in the Supreme Court. They took the power of taxation very seriously when it came to handing that power over to the president, and they said no. And not surprising, and one of their points was every president wants power. They're never going to give it back. You give it to them once, they never relinquish it. It's not happening. Okay, when it comes to taxes, that's what they said, and he's got other choices. And it seems like it's volatile now. Let's see where we go. And he said that their decision was an embarrassment to their families. Bringing their families into it, folks. That's unfortunate to bring the Supreme Court justices' families into it and there. But not surprising. And yeah, on a longer term basis, folks, one of the arguments they made, and I know I'm going on it, is that a lot of the stuff that they overturned on Biden, they would have had to put through. And so whenever I see people in proponent of these tariffs, they're a proponent of Trump tariffs. And when you get into, okay, it's a perpetuity deal. You have to make sure that, number one, it goes to the Constitution no matter what, obviously. But powers are not always used for good reasons if you disagree with a person. There's a reason why, when it comes to taxation, that the president does not have unilateral power to impose. And as I said again, we'll leave it at that. Check out those oral arguments. The justices themselves, obviously, they're the ones that have the questions for the litigators, and their questions alone were so insightful. All right, we come into a weekend, and boy, that's a tough loss for the president. He'll be fine. But we come into a weekend where Iran tensions at highs. You got crude off 7 pennies at 66.33. You were as high as $67 last night. There's a little volatility around the open. There's a little volatility around the tariffs themselves, but a pretty calm day on crude. It's been upward trajectory, and we broke above this consolidation yesterday on real nice volume. We're backing off on a little bit lighter volume. And metal's not stopping either. Look at this. All right, we'll see if we can get above these highs from February 11th. We're right there, man. Those highs at 51.44, you were within about $35 of that price level. Yeah, you check out some of the equities that are most open to those tariffs. How about Amazon? Up by 2.3% today. Walmart? Not the case, man. Walmart down by 1.7%. No reprieve just there. Yeah, Amazon a big one, man. Yeah, eBay up by 4%. Williams-Sonoma only 2%. Remember, Williams-Sonoma. Do you remember this day in Williams-Sonoma on Liberation? That was the escalation. This thing just kept going, man. It was never ending. Wow, look how far back you got to go, man. Time flies. No, that wasn't the one. It was Restoration Hardware. That was the one that fell out of bed overnight. Yeah, there was the one. Restoration Hardware went from $250 down to $125 in almost a day. $134. And that was right around tariffs on their earnings. And almost no reprieve. So that gives you the indication. The tariffs are here. Okay? The tariffs are here. As in, it's not like Restoration Hardware is popping 20% today. Okay, this thing was down 40%. Something like that when this thing got ripped lower of the tariffs. They're not getting a reprieve today. You saw the initial one, and then the market said, nope. We're going back. We're not at 226 on that news. It's not happening. There's other avenues. The president doesn't need IEPA. And even though he said it would be the end of the world, it's not the end of the world. The companies are still going to have to pay the tariffs in other avenues that may be constitutional, and we'll find out the validity of that, too. All right, you take a look at the heat map out here. That's your Dow Jones. Amazon in the green. Let's take a look at the S&P 500 right now. Yeah, look at Google up by 4%, Meta up by 1.7%, Micron up by 2%, Apple up by 1.25%, Healthcare stocks trading slightly lower. Lilly off by 1.1%. Johnson & Johnson 1.1%. Pfizer off by 1% as well. Energy stocks pulling back a little bit as well. Yeah, let's go with Oracle. Oracle's trading lower today. 6-7%. Yeah, 6% to the downside. 147. Let's see. Why is Oracle trading lower? Hey, nonetheless, you're trading low. We got an uptick in volume. Now you get all this volume at the lows, about 40 million on the daily basis. Jump over to a weekly on Oracle. Yeah, pretty light volume, but we have these lows out here with volume. We'll see if we can test those lows. 135 is the low out there on Oracle, and you have it on volume. All right, folks, markets in the green. S&P's up by 37. I think it likes a little bit of certainty, at least. One less variable in the way. We're coming right back, folks.
Many trading newsletters attempt to focus on a narrow set of equities or commodities. While this works for some, it oftentimes misses many opportunities that possess huge gain potential. But how is an independent trader supposed to scan the entire market looking for these hidden opportunities? One simple answer: the opening call newsletter. Basil Chapman, developer of the Chapman Wave trading methodology, has been trading the markets for longer than most trading influencers have been alive. And over that time, he has honed his methodology in order to accurately call movements in a wide range of equities, from semiconductors to uranium to key indices and so much more. Basil is old school, taking the time to educate the trader while also giving his insights into key indices, selective stocks, and more. Opening call subscribers also receive access to dozens of educational live streams that can be accessed at any time for your edification. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So ignore the pop trading influencers and start learning time-tested technical analysis.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
This portion of the Tom O'Brien Show is brought to you by Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the direction. Visit Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Welcome back, folks. And yeah, the other thing we had going on this morning gets lost in the shuffle of a monumental Supreme Court decision is the fourth quarter GDP numbers come in at just 1.4%. The estimate was around 3%. That was out at 8:30 this morning. Excuse me. The estimate was 2.5%. Okay. GDP comes in at 1.4. Inflation was at 3%. That was supposed to be potentially 2.9%. So we have GDP, half of what it was supposed to be, and we have inflation running a little bit hot. And, you know, it is unfortunate. Okay, it would be a good thing if the president didn't front run when the governmental agencies release economic data. Now, he has every right to. Nothing illegal about this. All right. But the equal dissemination of information, and he's just out there tweeting about it 40 minutes before the news actually comes out. All right. Maybe he could save that until after the government agency releases it at a scheduled time for the equal information of access to the market. It's a scheduled time. It's there for a reason, so that everybody knows the equal access to information and when it will be released. And so, yeah, the president's out there 45 minutes ahead of time, blaming Democrats for the shutdown. Politics, of course. Hey, both sides contributing to the government shutting down and claiming that it took away 2 full points. And it did take a remarkable amount away from the GDP numbers. And you had consumer spending and exports, as well as the impact from the government closure. But guess what? It just wasn't the government closure. A pullback in consumer spending and exports. That is what the data says. Okay? The PCE rose 2.4% in the quarter, down from 3.5% gain. Exports were down almost a full percentage point after surging 10% in the third quarter. How about that for some volatility? Okay, that's a big one. And then on the government side, government spending and investments slid 5.1%. You had a 16.6% tumble at the federal level that was only partially offset by a 2.54% increase from state and local entities. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question, how you're going to get that. For those of you that paid tariffs, right? Well, what happened is that you're not getting back anything, no spin. Because people who paid them, you're not getting it back. You didn't pay it, right? The company paid it, and then they may have passed that on to you, but you didn't technically pay it. If they passed it on to you, they're the ones that paid it, and you paid the pass-through cost to them. And it's going to be a battle for those companies to get it back no matter what. And what's remarkable, not remarkable, because you can't spin on a dime, but imagine taxes are still happening. They haven't even stopped. And I say that as in they can't just stop it immediately. It's going to take a few days for it to actually kick in. And so you have tariffs still getting collected for the next couple of days. Not a big deal. Of course, that's how it goes. Anything going to take a little bit of process. But yeah, they're still paying them. And there's going to be other avenues. And we'll see what happens. But yeah. And, you know, tariffs are we can tariff. That's the thing. You just have to incorporate Congress, folks. Okay, that's the thing. Tariffs are completely legal if they incorporate Congress. Okay, they're not legal according to the Supreme Court by using an executive authority in the name of an emergency. Everything's an emergency. Politicians love emergencies. President Trump is not the first one to love emergencies. Plenty of Democratic presidents have done it. Republicans can't stand it when they do it. And this is the ultimate one, the power of taxation. So we'll see where we fall. And yeah, get in line for those tariffs, man. Because the government's going to be the one refunding them. And that is going to be a process, to put it lightly. Jump over to Apple, up by 1% right now today for Apple shares. Because, yeah, they're paying some tariffs. Yeah, a lot of these tech companies. And that's as the Journal puts it. Ruling to set off a scramble for refunds. Companies are going to likely look. Because guess what? Consumers, if they passed it on to you, you got no right whatsoever. More than $133 billion in tariffs were struck down. And how consumers as businesses are going to reclaim that slice. Well, unless you actually literally paid it when it came into the imports, folks, it's going to be pretty difficult. Small businesses borne the brunt of it. Large corporations better positioned for obvious reasons, the likes of Apple. But here, yeah, and they had talked to this person before, some baby shop. Which one's this? Busy Baby. $50K in tariffs. And the majority opinion did not address the issue of refunds, presumably leaving it up for the lower courts to sort out. Good luck to them. And in the dissent from Kavanaugh, however, he addressed it, saying the process is likely to be a mess and that it would have significant consequences for the U.S. Treasury. Well, the Treasury Secretary disagrees, right? And yeah, he's out there in damage control saying everything's going to be fine. We're still going to collect the tariff money. He's a member of the administration, the Treasury Secretary. They're in a little bit of damage control today for what that message, who the messenger is. And it is going to be a little bit of a mess, but they'll get through it. And, creating such a mess that undoing it is the rationale to make something constitutional, which wasn't unconstitutional. For those of you out there that, like to say, where's the line? Where do you draw the line? That is a slippery slope. Okay? If a president can come in and you're going to use the argument that he did stuff that creates such a problem that if you actually just tell him it's unconstitutional and you have to unwind it, it's unwindable. And then you have the Treasury Secretary saying tariff revenue is going to be unchanged. Doesn't seem like it's that much of a mess if tariff revenue is going to be unchanged. Now, yes, it's going to be quite a process that's going to take a lot of money. But this is the risk the president took. When you do things that are questionable at best, one of the risks you run, everything's risk reward. He knew the risks. And so that was the risk and the calculation he took. And even 2 out of the 3 of the members of the Supreme Court that he put into the court said that power of taxation is not constitutional, that he's using on an emergency basis. But yeah, when that's going to happen, little clarity on how, when, or what is going to go on for those refunds. Get a good lawyer if that's your deal, folks. S&P's up by 38. Market likes it. We're in the green. We'll come right back, folks.
Potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
For traders who crave risk, Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs provide opportunities to magnify short-term perspectives with up to 3 times a daily leverage, utilize bull and bear funds from both sides of the trade, and trade through rapidly changing markets. These are highly leveraged ETFs with daily resetting designed for short-term trading, not long-term investing. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the Direxion. For up-to-date pricing and performance, go to Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
The reality is that navigating financial markets can be risky. Markets can be chaotic and difficult to understand. Having the latest market advice can help you turn this chaos into a key for creating winning trades. At TFNN, we understand that it can be hard to find reliable market news. That's why each of our market experts offers their very own market newsletter. a must-have tool for every trader out there striving to find an edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets so you can analyze the market before you trade. Try any of our great newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Just visit the Newsletters tab on the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den, hosted at Discord. TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Tom O'Brien.
Welcome back, folks. S&P's up by 42. NASDAQ 100 up by 191, and it was a quick move higher, man. We got a couple pullbacks. Your pullback at about 12:15 this afternoon. That was the biggest pullback with volume. Quite a little acceleration, right back to where we were, that strength at 10 a.m. from the tariffs, and then we've been chopping around near the highs. And yeah, it's a little bit of uncertainty right now, but the market, less pricing risk with the VIX near 19 right now, down $1.15, and even with the unknown, because you're not sure, right? We saw how the unknown in terms of, wasn't that long ago, folks, last April, right? Nobody was quite sure how low we were going, how strong the president was in his conviction to keep those tariffs in there, even when the market was melting down, and we get a reprieve, and we're bouncing on lighter volume, but it's decent volume when you look at a short trading week. That's 4 days we're doing on the S&Ps at almost 6 million contracts going into 7.5. So on an average basis, you're doing almost as much volume as we did last week when you put it in 4 days versus how much volume we did in 5. All right, let's talk about the Middle East. So, boy, I pulled up this one this morning. How about this one, man? I'm going to share this one in the Tiger's Den right now. This one's a good one, man. Just checking out the force, the United States military. Do not mess with us, folks. The U.S. military has deployed scores of combat aircraft across the Middle East, and here's a map. Okay, you get the aircraft carrier U.S. Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group out there in the Arabian Sea. That's the aircraft carrier with other warships next to it. Okay, you got fighters out there. Pretty amazing. And then you look at warships. Look at these warships, these triangles in here. It's amazing, the buildup. And then you look at whether it's F-22s, F-35s. There's a look at the airplanes. Pretty amazing technology, man. There's the USS Abraham Lincoln, commissioned in 1989, folks. And check this out. How many people are on this thing? 3,200 is the ship's company, and 2,480 is the air wing. Oh, thing does 30 knots, 2 nuclear reactors. Not 1, 2. Pretty amazing, man. The subs, the helicopters, and then you got the anti-defense missiles, the missile defense system. THAAD, pretty amazing when you look at operation almost 20 years ago. THAAD is 20 years old. THAAD. I'm sure the military's got more that we just may not know when you talk about a system like that. 20 years old. How about that? You know they got better technology. So we wait for the weekend. We'll see what happens, but tension's ratcheting up. And we got crude sitting at prices that we have not seen. We're sitting at the highs of September, but you're going back almost to July. This is the area, though. This is the test, right? You got highs out here from the week of January 26th of 66.48, and we are 18 pennies below there right now. How about that? 18 pennies to finish above those highs, but we won't have volume if we do. Look at the volume on that week. 1.8 million contracts in crude versus 1.4 this week. And that's to get back onto it, right? You know, the tariffs might be great. Maybe they are a good policy. Then let's get Congress to pass it. That's the thing. We can do it. Congress just has to be included. It all doesn't have to be snarky, you know, stuff like that, right? We have the power to do all this stuff. Congress just needs to be incorporated as opposed to the president being able to do whatever they want on that type of a scale when it comes to taxation. And, you know, that is not probably going to happen in Congress right now. And so, yeah, we're going another route. But they can happen. We could put that in policy. It just has to be through Congress and you know, equal branches of government as they go, as you're taught in civics class, folks. 3, equal but separate branches of government is as the expression. Equal but separate. Okay, we jump around to some other stories today, and yeah, AI disrupting yet again. Look at this thing, man. The traders that are in the know right now, it just seems too easy when you say, of course this is happening, but it happens when it happens. And I say that as in this article here, that on Anthropic, they're at it again. They introduced a new security feature. Yeah, so guess what? Security companies are tanking. The new tool scans code bases for security vulnerabilities and suggests targeted software patches for human review. It's available in limited update. And yeah, they're steady selling all right. We just jumped. CrowdStrike's down 7.5% right now. Jump over to Cloudflare Net. Oh boy, 7% as well. Yeah, we'll see. We got some big time volume on their numbers last, but this thing's been under some pressure, man. Look at this. On a weekly basis. Oh boy, look at that. Ooh. Things look a little, you know, you got that pop on earnings, but all the other volumes to the downside, right? Look at the week of January 26th, the week of February 2nd, and now we have this week, February 16th, and all that translates into, for Cloudflare, a monthly bar, and we got, you know, what, is it 5 full trading days? Yeah, that's all it is. It's February's 28 days. I mean, amazing, right? It's the 20th of the month right now, but we only got 5 trading days left. That's it. So you got 5 trading days left. And yeah, we're doing some big volume, but we're right near these lows. And you got a low out there. Oof, look at how much this thing moves. The low out there is actually $10 below where we are right now. But you closed last week at 177.35, and we're at 178.64 on Cloudflare. And CrowdStrike, look at this. Right back to all that volume from July. Is that July at 24? It is. Oh, when they shut down the internet. Man, time is wild. Time is wild. That's over a year and a half ago that they shut down the internet with their Microsoft patch or whatever it was. But we're right back to where we were at the beginning of that. You drive lower, you trade from 200 to 566, and we're right back to where we started. But yeah, AI tools disrupting. Shouldn't be as surprising as it is when you're getting 10% drops. But this is one of those software companies. You saw that happen with Blue Owl, right? It's one of the reasons. They don't even, people are, look at this, Blue Owl, down to the 4% right now. Accelerate lower on the open, you're pushing 1090. You know, nobody wants to be in private credit right now when you're providing credit to companies that are facing some big time problems in terms of the revenue and the competition that they're going to be facing. All right, when we come back, we'll take a look at banks. So First Citizens, yeah, they bought Silicon Valley Bank. They're thinking about buying another, and that's going to push them over $250 billion. First Citizens making a run. We're coming back, folks. Talk some banks.
trading newsletters attempt to focus on a narrow set of equities or commodities. While this works for some, it oftentimes misses many opportunities that possess huge gain potential. But how is an independent trader supposed to scan the entire market looking for these hidden opportunities? One simple answer: the opening call newsletter. Basil Chapman, developer of the Chapman Wave trading methodology, has been trading the markets for longer than most trading influencers have been alive. And over that time, he has honed his methodology in order to accurately call movements in a wide range of equities, from semiconductors to uranium to key indices and so much more. Basil is old school, taking the time to educate the trader while also giving his insights into key indices, selective stocks, and more. Opening call subscribers also receive access to dozens of educational live streams that can be accessed at any time for your edification. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So ignore the pop trading influencers and start learning time-tested technical analysis.
In the world of trading, only a few names stand out like Larry Pesavento, a pro's pro with over 50 years of experience. Larry has seen it all. A former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member, Larry has authored 10 books and trained over 1,000 traders with his unmatched expertise. Introducing Fibonacci 24/7, Larry Pesavento's daily trading service that turns the complexity of markets into opportunities. Published every Sunday, receive a comprehensive report packed with detailed commentary, charts, and videos that illuminate the patterns shaping the markets, with updates throughout the week exclusively for subscribers. Whether through charts or videos, Larry's analysis is your roadmap to navigating the markets. You can sign up now at TFNN.com for just $97. And with all TFNN newsletters backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to risk. For all the details, visit TFNN.com. You'll find Fibonacci 24/7 right under the newsletters tab.
The reality is that navigating financial markets can be risky. Markets can be chaotic and difficult to understand. Having the latest market advice can help you turn this chaos into a key for creating winning trades. At TFNN, we understand that it can be hard to find reliable market news. That's why each of our market experts offers their very own market newsletter. A must-have tool for every trader out there striving to find an edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets so you can analyze the market before you trade. Try any of our great newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Just visit the newsletters tab on the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN. Educating investors.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks. And yeah, so you got First Citizens. They are trying to figure out what to buy next, and they don't even know, but they want to go over the 250 billion threshold. FCNCA, is that what it is? They play FCNCA? Yeah, there it is. First Citizens. And so there's your, look at this thing, man. Oh, what a run, right? What an acquisition. They take over Silicon Valley Bank. Now remember, Silicon Valley Bank starts having problems in 23. The whole banking industry starts having problems. It gets done over like a weekend that First Citizens takes over Silicon Valley Bank. And this thing goes straight up to 2,400. We're right back near those highs. Today you're off by 1.6%. And the story out there is that, yeah, they've begun talks with regulators about the possibility of doing a major acquisition. The bank has asked advisors to draw up a list of potential transactions that could pursue to seek gain, more scale, and a better deal with regulatory and compliance costs. They're looking at Kickoff potentially. They're getting a little bid today. And it's amazing when you look at the winners and losers. Because look at Kickoff. Kickoff's only back to the beginning of where you were in 2023. You were at $20 or 22. Not the case with some of those other banks, but yeah. Banks, financials, they've all been on quite a tear from where we were, especially where we were in 2023. And there was your volatility. You had JP Morgan at 124. You're at 310. Bank of America was down to 26. You're at 53. Pretty remarkable acceleration. All right, folks. We got markets. S&P's up by 0.6%. We got the NASDAQ up by 196. The Dow in the positive. Russell in the red. We'll finish it up with gold. Gold up $115, up 2.3%. Folks, thanks for spending your Friday afternoon with me. Have a great night. Have a safe night. Great weekend. Safe weekend. Enjoy it, folks, with your friend and family. Be safe out there. We'll see you back here Monday morning for the Morning Market Kickoff. Have a great one, folks. Thanks so much.